now that we've talked about all of our different categories of numbers, we're going to do some practice with comparing and ordering rational numbers and irrational numbers. So our first example, we are going to order the numbers from least to greatest. Least to greatest. All right, and our numbers are the square root of 15, 3, 4 1/2, and 4.21 repeating. So anytime we order numbers, I like to use a number line, just because you know the numbers further on the left-hand side of the number line have less value, and the numbers on the right-hand side of the number line have more value. If you are a person who can order them without a number line and the question doesn't require you to use a number line, that's fine. But today for our notes, we are going to use the number line. Okay, so first things first, I have square roots, I have integers, I have mixed numbers, and I have decimals. What do I have to do first? Crystal? Yeah, I'm going to put them all in the same form. And what's probably the easiest to work with? Melody? Huh? You like fractions? You can do fractions, absolutely. I prefer what, Adam? I prefer decimals. I just think it's easier to work with. But if fractions are better for you, go for it. All right, so we have 3. This is already a decimal. This is already a decimal. What is 4 1/2 as a decimal? Dom? I was. Okay. Sorry. 4.5. Perfect. Okay, I also have to convert the square root of 15. Is that a perfect square? No. So I'm going to do what we did yesterday. What two perfect squares is that between? 3 and 4, right? 3 is the square root of 9, and 4 is the square root of 16. 15 is closer to which one, 3 or 4? It is closer to 4 because 15 is only 1 away from 16. So what do you think is an appropriate decimal, Adam? 3.8. I'm actually going to say 3.9 because there's only one. It's only 1 away. So it's going to be really, really close. If not, it would actually probably be closer to 4. But we're going to go 3.9. Okay? All right, so now that I have all of my numbers as decimals, I'm going to create my number line. What is my smallest value here? What is the smallest number? Melody? Yes, 3. So I'm going to start my number line at 3, and what does it have to, what's the highest value I have to go up to? Adam? 4.5 is our highest. So I'm going to go from 3 up to 4.5, and I'm going to do some intervals between. I'm going to go up by a half each time. So this is going to be 3.5, this is going to be 4, and then 4.5. Make sure you're creating your number line first, and now we can go in and plot my data. Okay, so square root of 15, which is 3.9, is going to be really close to 4. It's going to be right about there. Then I have 3. Then I have 4.5. And 4.21 repeating is going to be right in the middle, maybe a little bit closer to 4. Okay. Now that I have all my data, all my number line completed, I have to list them from the least to the greatest. Start on the left-hand side of my number line. My lowest one is 3. My next one is, what is this one here? 3.9, which is actually the square root of 15. You want to use the original format of the number. My next number is 4.21 repeating. And my last is 4.5, which is 4 1/2. That is the order from least to greatest. Alright, so now we're going to do another example, but instead of ordering from least to greatest, we're going to order from greatest to least. And my set of numbers is going to be the square root of 30, 6, 5 4/5, and 5.36, and the 6 repeats. If you don't know how to draw these brackets, you can just draw parentheses. Okay, so again, are they all in the same form? No, we have square roots, we have integers, we have mixed numbers, and we have decimals. I prefer to put them all as decimals because I think that's the easiest to work with, but if you can just put them as fractions, if that works for you, go for it. Alright, so let's convert this into a decimal. 5 4/5 is 5 point... Anybody? 5.8, good. Alright, now we have to do the square root of 30. Is that a perfect square? No, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of thinking here. It falls between what two perfect squares? 5 and 6, which is the square root of 25 and the square root of 36. Which one is it closest to? 5, because what's the difference here from 25 to 30? It's plus 5. What's the difference between 30 and 36? So it's very, very close in the middle though, right? So what do you think an appropriate answer would be? 5.5 or 5.4? I'm going to go with 5.5. I think that's appropriate because it's very close to being in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to draw my number line. What's my smallest value that I'm going to have to plot? .36 repeating. So I'm actually going to start my number line at 5. And what do I have to go up to? What's my highest number? 6. So now I'm going to break up my number line in between 5 and 6 just so I can be a little bit more accurate. I'm going to go up by a quarter each time, 0.25. So halfway is 5.5. In the middle is 5.25. And up here is 5.75. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and plot all my numbers. 5.5 falls right here on my number line. 6 is right here. 5.8 is right about here. And 5.36 is right about here. Now when you're making these number lines, you might not have the same exact thing that I do. You may do it differently, which is fine. They don't have to be identical. Alright, so now we have to go from the greatest to the least. So that means the values or the dots on the right hand side are the highest value. Okay, so I'm going to start with this dot here, which is 6. My next one down is 5.8, which is 5 4/5. My next dot down is 5.5, which we said was the square root of 30. And my last one is 5.36 repeating. That was actually our last example, but now you're going to do some practice in your book. So turn to page 90. You're going to do letters A through C. And on page 91, you are going to do letters D through G. You are not using calculators. Not using calculators.